machete with a red handle. That's what I'm gonna use to kill you. Besides, I already made you a promise.
The Walking Dead has many weapons it's iconic for, such as Negan's bat and Michonne's katana, but one of my favorite ones out of all the weapons we've seen is Rick Grimes' Red Machete. And I feel like the Red Machete from The Walking Dead is something that pretty much everyone knows about, and everyone just associates it with the Rick Grimes from season 5 when he was completely ruthless. But I've always wondered what kind of happened to it, and actually how did he ever obtain the Red Machete? And ever since, I've always wanted to know what is the story behind this Red Machete and whatever happened to it, because I don't really see it anymore. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the entire story of the Rick Grimes Red Machete. Thanks to The Walking Dead's Red Machete webisode they made of 6 parts and many Easter eggs and other things that fans have collectively theorized, I'm able to make this video today and give you guys the complete breakdown. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. So the very first appearance of the Red Machete starts off in this webisode. So the beginning of the webisode starts off at the very beginning of the zombie apocalypse. We're inside some store, and there's a guy trying to fight off a walker. He doesn't have a weapon, and then he's cornered into a wall where he sees a red machete. And he rips it out, stabs the walker in the chest, which obviously isn't effective, and he dies. And that's it. The story's over. No, I'm just kidding, guys. And very oddly, a girl watches him get eaten alive, just like kind of in the corner. Now, this girl is very important to the story. This is Mandy. Her dad, David, comes in and grabs the Red Machete. Mandy also has a sister, Alyssa, and the rest of the story is kind of gonna follow them now, since they're the ones that have the Red Machete. Now, this next part I really like a lot. David teaches Mandy how to use the Red Machete properly because they saw that guy who was struggling and didn't know how to use it. And Mandy grows an interest to this Red Machete and it becomes her weapon. Now, this is a really subtle thing that I like a lot. It wasn't just that someone grabbed the Red Machete and then they became some pro with it. It was someone grabbed it and another person saw them die and then they used that to learn how to use the weapon. Anyways, after months of training with this Red Machete, they do eventually run out of food. And Mandy, Alyssa, and David have become our main characters in this webisode now, so it's kind of important. They go on a scavenging mission and Mandy's sister Alyssa dies because a walker grabs her hair. So then Mandy gets her hair cut by her father, of course using the Red Machete. And David also carves Mandy's name into the handle of the Red Machete, which is gonna be really important later on. Obviously, they took a big hit, you know, they lost Mandy's sister, but unfortunately, it does get worse. Mandy's father, David, gets bit from a walker they were keeping outside their house as some sort of alarm. They attached bells to it. He got bit in the arm. I'm kind of surprised they didn't cut the arm off or anything. But yeah, David does end up dying, unfortunately. So now it's just Mandy all on her own, and she's been pretty depressed. She doesn't really have anything left at this point. And just as you thought that things couldn't get worse, she goes inside the house leaving her Red Machete unattended. And she gets broken into by looters who take the Red Machete. Now we're gonna follow the next person that has the machete. The person that took the machete is named Derek. It was shown that 3 people broke into the house, but this part of the webisode, it's clear that he probably separated off from them. Also, he didn't just take the machete, he actually took Alyssa's backpack as well, which had a CD player, and he decides to listen to music on the CD player and clean up the Red Machete with baking soda and water. Also, he wraps the Red Machete's handle in red tape. So that's why we never saw the Mandy name on the Red Machete, and that's why there was tape all around it. While he was listening to music and cleaning up the machete, he got eaten by a walker. This is just one of the reasons I love this webisode a lot. Everything is like a domino effect with each other. Now, after Derek does get killed, while he was getting killed, actually, he stabbed the walker that bit him, or ate him, in the chest. Now, we're gonna follow this walker's journey. This walker wanders the Georgia countryside for many months, joining different hordes and even losing its arm in the process. And all of a sudden, it gets punched in the face and knocked down by none other, the claimer, Joe. He pulls the machete out of the walker's chest and yells, "Claimed!" And we see a little montage of how badass Joe actually was before seeing Rick. When anyone tried to mess with them, he would grab the Red Machete, cut their hands off, and kill them. Now, this is my favorite part of the webisode right here. It's nighttime. Joe packs the machete into his bag and then grabs a pistol. He walks out of frame, Guess where he's walking to? The infamous scene of Rick biting Joe's throat out. That's right, guys. This entire timeline has led us straight to that very night where Joe went to go kill Rick, but obviously didn't go as planned. Now, after Rick kills Joe, this is where he gets his red machete. Rick carries this machete with him for several weeks. He uses it to kill Gareth. He has it by his side during the entire Beth hospital arc. And of course, during his absolute prime when he had that entire beard grown out and they were in that barn. Now, this is where the weapon goes a little bit silent. After Aaron pulls up, the red machete is placed in the town's armory. Now, it's kind of forgotten about at this point. You know, we see Rick use his hatchet, but his story doesn't end there, actually. The red machete was eventually taken by Negan and the Saviors. And this is where we go back into the webisode because we actually see the Savior who got the red machete. So there was a box full of weapons brought into the Sanctuary's arsenal, and it was to this character named Gerald. And he picked the red machete out of all of them. Over time, Gerald does decide to flee from the Saviors, and we see a little glimpse of him trying to survive on his own, but then he just gets shot while running away. So Jared gets shot, but the machete gets embedded into the grass. We see Jared reanimate and walk off, but the person that shot him never actually went back for the machete. And for many years, it looks like the machete just stays embedded in the grass. No one comes to touch it. We see a montage of people walking by, but no one ever picks it up. That is until none other than Mandy picks up the weapon. She removes the tape and sees that it's hers with the Mandy engraving. We see a cool ass action scene of her killing walkers with it. She goes back to her house and is attacked by a walker, but you know, doesn't get bit or anything. But she kind of has bad memories there, so she decides to leave the red machete behind and all the bad memories behind with it. So she puts it at her father's grave. Now, the webisode kind of ends there. I mean, the entire story with Mandy and all of that is done, but we see an unknown person pick it up at the end and then it cuts off. The webisode's fully done after that. Now, this is where the theories come in as to who that was. And the person that's theorized to have picked it up at the very end is Alpha. Now, in season 9 of The Walking Dead, we do see Alpha with a machete. And it does strike a resemblance to Mandy's / Rick's red machete. Obviously, it looks a lot older, not like it used to. I mean, many years have passed at this point because we know season 9 and the Alpha arc is, around 8 years into the apocalypse. As to if it is Alpha's or not, we don't know. I'm pretty sure it's just up for open interpretation. Now, if it isn't Alpha's, or even if it was Alpha's, the red machete could still very well be out there. Maybe the person that grabbed it at the end wasn't Alpha, doesn't matter. It could still exist. Now, this is where the Rick and Michonne spinoff comes into play. During an interview, showrunner Scott Gimple teased that the red machete Rick will be returning in the spinoff. We see this incredible power couple, but we also see that red machete Rick. We see that Michonne who taught a thing or two to the governor. It kind of goes coast to coast that way between the intimate and the epic and the insane. Now, obviously, he could have just meant that the red machete Rick as in the crazy season 5 Rick. But I don't know, maybe the actual red machete could be returning too. Who knows, maybe that person who picked it up wasn't Alpha and is someone who could even be a CRM person now. We're just gonna have to see, guys, and that's the full story of the red machete. From beginning to end, but not so end, because it's up to open interpretation as to what happened to it. We're just gonna have to see, guys, until the very ending of this Walking Dead universe story. And guys, I'm really excited. Let me know what you guys think. I wanted to bring some light to this red machete because everyone talks about the red machete Rick as like as more of a person, not like the actual weapon, which I think there's a lot the weapon deserves more credit. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what other backstories you guys want to see, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace.